This video is about borrowing, so we're doing more subtraction, and how do we borrow when we have to subtract. So the first thing that we should have noticed is that in 261 subtract 124, this 4 is larger than the 1. And what that means is that we have to borrow, because lots of people will say 1 subtract 4 equals 3, and that's wrong. 1 subtract 4 equals 3. What they're really doing is 4 subtract 1 equals 3. And we know that we have to start in the top right-hand corner. So the question is, can I borrow from here? And the answer is yes, because that 6 is larger than the 2. If this was a 5, I could borrow. If this was a 4, I could borrow. If it was a 3, if it was a 2, I couldn't. If it was a 2 or a 1, I couldn't. But it is larger, so I will borrow. And instead of being 60, it becomes 50. That 10 that I've taken is going to live in there. And the new number that it's made is 11. So it was made up of a 10 that I borrowed from here and a single unit, which is in black. So now we've got 11 subtract 4 equals 7. And this number is still larger than the number underneath, which is great. 5 subtract 2 equals 3. 2 subtract 1 equals 1. Only one bit of borrowing. Only one. One borrow. 4,672 subtract 2,194. I always ask myself, is that number larger than the number underneath? Is 2 greater than 4? And the answer is no. So I have to borrow. And I ask myself, can I borrow from here? Can I borrow from the tens column? And in this instance, the answer is no. That 7 is smaller than the 9. Smaller than. So that means I can't borrow from there. Question is, can I borrow from the hundreds column? Is the 6 larger than the 1? And the answer is yes, it is. So that's a column that I can borrow from. Instead of being 500, I'm going to make it, beg your pardon, instead of being 600, I'm going to make it 500. And I'm going to pinch or borrow 1 and pop it there. So now I've got 4 and 5 and 17 and 2. Keep it nice and neat. Keep this really neat. Okay, it should be clear. Now, I have to borrow because I still haven't done this bit here. So instead of having 17, I'm going to make it 16. I'm going to borrow 1 from there. So there are lots of steps. That's why we have to keep it neat. The one that I borrow from there, I'm going to place next to the 2. Whew. Now I've got 4 then a 5, then a 16, then a 12. Just check now. Is the 4 larger than the 2? Is the 4 larger than the 2? The answer is yes. Is the 5 larger than the 1? The answer is yes. Is the 16 larger than the 9? The answer is yes. And is the 12 larger than the 4? And the answer is yes. Now we've got larger numbers up the top and smaller numbers underneath. That's why we borrow, so we can subtract. 12, take away 4, equals 8. 16, subtract 9, equals 7. 5, subtract 1, equals 4. And 4, subtract 2, equals 2. 2,478. All right. Down here, 6,123. Subtract 2,562. The first question is this 3 larger than the number underneath? So if I start with 3 and take away 2, that gives me 1. And I can do that because the larger number is on top. Then I look into my tens column and I say, is the 2 larger than the 6? And the answer is no. That means that I have to borrow. So I ask myself, can I borrow from the column next door? Is the 1 larger than the 5? And the answer is no, it's not. So I'll have to borrow. Can I borrow from here? Is that 6 larger than the 2? And the answer is yes. That is now 5,000. And the new number that I've created in there is 11. But don't forget, I've got to come back to here because this is what I'm up to. Okay, so that's brilliant. I borrowed from here and I've changed this. That's also good stuff, but I've got to get it back to here because this is the point that I got stuck. 3 subtract 2 was 1. That was fine. But we had to borrow because the 2 was smaller than the 6. So this is where I've got to come back to. Can't borrow from here. Could borrow from here. So did. Now I've got 11 subtract 5. And I will change that so that it's 10. I'm going to borrow 1 from there. Good? That makes this a 12. 12 subtract 6. So now I've got 5 is larger than 2, 10 is larger than 5, and 12 is larger than 6. So that means I can subtract. 12 subtract 6 equals 6. 10 subtract 5 equals 5. And 5 subtract 2 equals 3. Really important that you are neat. It is going to become too messy if you are all over the place. Please be very neat with what you're doing. Last question. 2,067 subtract 1,912. My question is the 7 larger than the 2? The answer is yes. The question is the 6 larger than the 5? The answer is yes. So far, so good. Is the 0 larger than the 9? And the answer is obviously no. It's smaller. So I have to borrow from the thousands column just here. So instead of being 2,000, I'm going to change it to 1,000. That number that I borrowed is going in there to make 10. 10 is larger than the 9. That's just what we want. 10 subtract 9 equals 1. And 1 subtract 1 equals 0. Now, just ask yourself, does 155 look right? Or does that look right? Good job. Borrowing is difficult and there's lots of different combinations and numbers that you have to borrow from. The fact that you're watching it and you're doing a little bit of revision is such a good thing, so keep it up.